Hi, it's Philip from eManage, and in this video I'm going to go through the new line item quote options and go ahead and print a bunch of different settings for you so you know what's available in the new update. And I'm going to go ahead and start by creating a new customer and showing you how to use a customer's logo as opposed to your logo for the quote cover page. So I'm going to do McDonald's, and we'll do it in Mission Viejo, California. Okay, and I'm going to pick one of these here, and I'm going to do add as a location, and I'm going to choose customer as my company type. And my settings and my administrator don't have any requirements for customers, so I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Yours will probably have some of the other requirements, such as market type or something like that. And I've saved that, and there's a new button up here called Company Logo. We're going to click on that, and we're going to browse to our logo file. And what I did to get logos is I went to images.google.com, and I did 256 by 256 company logos. Okay, and when you get those, you can see that there are a lot to choose from here. You can right-click and save picture as, save it to your hard drive, and then you'll use this method to attach. So I'm going to go ahead and click there, browse, and I've downloaded a bunch of these already. So in this window, you have a choice between JPEG and PNG, so you may need to switch it if you don't see the one that you want. And we're going to grab that logo, and we're going to hit apply. And then I'm going to go ahead and start a project for this. And I'm just going to fill this form out with the basics. And I'm going to go ahead and make this a direct bill project because there are some options on the quote that I want to be able to show you. Make sure my grid is 100% and save. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the bill of materials. I'm going to build a really quick bill of materials using the project spec integration, and I'm going to do a new option. And I'm going to call this furniture, and we'll call this okay, so when I go to my BOM level, I've got my P matrix button. I'm going to go ahead and click that, and I'm just going to grab some product out of here. Now, when you use the integration with Project Spec, we get to integrate this way by looking up in the catalog. We also get the image, the rendered image of the product that we're selling, which will be saved against the line item for anyone to use, and will also show up in the quote. Okay, when you're done there, you hit accept. And you'll see your line item show up with the picture there. If you don't have your pictures turned on, you won't see the picture, but it's pretty easy to turn that on. You can go to Tools and Configure User Settings. And on the Personal Settings tab, there's a checkbox here that says Show Pictures in the BOM Items Grid. You'll just check that off and you'll be able to see the pictures in there as well. All right, so this is my furniture, but I'm going to have to add some labor to go and deliver it. So I'm going to add a new phase, and I'm going to call this my delivery. And then I'm going to go down to my BOM, and I'm going to use my search to search for some installation. Okay, and I'm going to find that and hit enter. And I'm going to set my quantity to a quantity of 3. Okay, so now I have the basic structure of my quote. I've got a Zodi chair and my delivery and installation fee. But I'd actually like to make this a little more interesting by adding a phase description and a phase picture. So I'm going to double click on furniture right here. And I am going to go out to the web. And I've already pre-searched for the Zodi desk chair, and this is from Hayworth. So I'm going to grab this description from them, and I'm going to paste it into my phase description here. When you paste something from the web, it may look like this font is the right size because it's a heading, but the heading doesn't mean anything to us, so we've got to change the font size. So we're going to go ahead and change that to a 24 point. Okay, and we're going to change this to a 10 point. And just know that the default font for the description has changed to Segway UI 7.85. That's our new standard font, and all the HTML boxes that you can fill out are all set to that now. So I'm going to go ahead and apply the text. And I'd also like to put a picture on there of that chair that's on there. So I'm going to right-click on the phase, and I'm going to add Modify Phase Picture. Okay, and I've already downloaded this picture, so I'm going to, but to do that, let me just show you how. You can right-click on the picture in your web browser and save picture as, and then save it to wherever you want it on your hard drive that you can get to it easily. And then we're going to, on our Add Modify Picture, we're going to browse, and we're going to go down to our pictures where I saved it, and we're just going to double-click on this chair, and then apply. Okay, and I can put a description in for delivery by double-clicking, same procedure, and I'm not going to do that on this one, but you can double-click and add that here as well. And we're going to go over to our Create, Modify, and View Quotes. That will automatically create our quote for us based on the options that are there that do not have one. Now we're going to double-click on the quote to set some of the options. And if you're using eManage now, you'll know that this looks pretty different. We had to add quite a few new options to handle our automation. So we have our Build To, Ship To, Deliver To, and End User. Okay, so End User is going to be where this is installed to. And then Build To, we're going to ship it somewhere else to an outside installer or something like that, and Deliver To. So you have all those options. And we're doing a line on the quote. Our quote name is here. We can change this. Prepared for is the person that you're going to be sending the quote to or the proposal to. So we're going to put in here Joe Black. You'll put in whoever's name it is. The salesperson is here, and it will show only those salespeople that are listed on the job from the project information. Terms of sale. Okay, so the terms of sale right here drives the payment schedule. And as we flip through these, if you don't see a payment schedule here, then your administrator has not set them up yet, and they need to set them up in order for this to work. So you'll talk to your administrator if one of these does not have. If you have a new terms that is coming up, talk to your administrator. They need to enter the terms as in the drop-down list manager and set up the payment schedule or the payment schedule for the new terms. But as we flip through here, you'll see that there are different settings. So I'm going to do a 50 down and 50 before delivery, sorry. And here's our expires on. Now, one of the new things in this quote is when you go to modify a quote, if the expires on is today or less, it will not only tell you that it can't do that, but it will also ask you if you want to set the date for 30 days from today. So it will automatically update that for you if you let it. And we have our direct bill vendor. Okay, so direct bills, when the manufacturer is going to be billing the customer direct, only the manufacturers that are listed in the bill of materials will be shown here, and anybody who's a freight deliverer or a subcontracted installation company, they will not show up here. Okay, so NA is if you're going to be billing it yourself. and choose a vendor or choose a manufacturer if they're going to be direct billing. Here's our deposit percent. Again, it's driven by our terms of sale, and you cannot change that. So if you have a different deposit percent, you need to talk to your administrator and have them fill it out in the administrator. And then we have our deposit invoice type. So we built in a deposit invoice on the end of this, and none obviously will not print anything on there. And for most of you, that will be the case. Just know that you can come back into this quote at any time, and you can actually print a deposit invoice aside from the quote. Okay, so you can do this you can do this now and save and print, and it will do the deposit invoice on the end of the quote. Or you can leave it none, and you can come back at any time and change this to a deposit invoice type, and it will and hit the print button, and it will print it independently of the quote. So the deposit invoice types are to break it out by option phase, option manufacturer, product type, and category, and we'll do each of those in this video. And you can put any special text on that invoice. So I'm going to fill this out even though I'm doing none, because we are going to come back to it. So please verify the color and other options on the Zodi chair before signing off. Okay, so over here we have the different options in the quote. Some of these are familiar to you, some of these are new. So the show part number, if we don't want our customer to see the part number of our manufacturer, then we can uncheck that, and it will show the description of what we're selling and the price. Otherwise, it will show the part number, description, and price in the line. Show discount from list. So if you're doing a direct bill, you have to show that customer the discount based on the contract they have with the manufacturer. This will show them the list price, the discount percent, and the price that it is after the discount. Show option names. So obviously our option names come from our bill of materials. If we don't want to show those, it won't break them out by that. Show phase names. Again, our phase names come from our bill of materials. In general, we'll want to show those. It breaks them out into the sections. So if you're doing a manager's office and a conference room, and you've tagged them that way, that's the way they will show up on the quote, and this will break them out by that. And since we did a phase description and a picture, we're going to want to show those phase names, so that shows up. And show phase totals. So if we have a lot of line items in our phases, then we're going to want to show the phase totals to do a subtotal of each of the offices or each of the tags, however we've tagged it. And show base items total. So if you attach more than one option to the quote, so if you needed another level of breakout and you did a bunch of different options, attach them to the one quote, so you'd have many things here checked off, then you can show the base items total, and that will add all of the options together for a grand total at the bottom of the quote. The optional items total, we can set different options to be optional to the customer. So if we so if you have base items total, all the non-optional things will add together and subtotal. Then the optional items will be separate, and they won't have a total unless you check this box. And then that would be saying if you wanted all these options, it would be this much with those options included. Hide BOM item pictures. So the picture that you saw come from Project Spec, if we hide BOM pictures, those pictures will not show up in the quote. And show tax on each line. Some accounting departments have to have everything laid out, then that's fine with us. Show tax on each line will show you how much tax was applied to each line item on each line item. And print footer separately. So over here we have our different header, footer, and summary. So in quote footer, you could save your text for your terms and conditions or whatever you wanted to put in there, and then you can use those. And then you can set that to print on a separate page so it looks like another portion of the document. You could also make an alternative and hard code your terms and conditions into the quote itself. And if you need help with that, you can call us for support. Okay, so now we've got our things that are new for the cover pages. So show quote cover pages. There's 2 pages to the quote cover. And those are the main cover page, and that's where the logo for the customer or our logo is going to show up, and the page for the summarization of the project itself. So when I do the show quote cover pages, I'm going to fill out a proposal title. The default is custom design proposal. You can type whatever you want in there. If you're a Space Saver dealer or a furniture dealer, you can put in a custom furniture design proposal. Okay, whatever you're deciding to do there, you can put in there. There is a limit of 85 characters. Okay, and the box will not let you go past that. Summarize cost for customer. So this tells it how to break out the basic cost summary for the customer, and we can do it by option phase, option manufacturer, option product type, and option category, and we'll do some of those in this video. Okay, so I think I'm ready to print this out, and I'm going to do save and print. Now, because I said mark this as a direct bill project, it's warning me that I have not chosen a manufacturer that's going to be billing this project. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say, no, I don't want to fill that out right now, because we'll do that on another set of printing. Okay, so let's go ahead and do my print. You can see my customer's logo is here, their name, and we've got our project title or quote title here. And then we've got the date and prepared for. Quote number is now the project number dash and the quote number. And we've got valid for however many days. Now, the valid for however many days now takes into account when you're printing it compared to the expiration date. So if the expiration date is 21 days from now, this is a 21 days. So if you print it at a later date, that date is going to go down as it gets closer to the expiration date. And prepared by. So this is the person that actually created the quote. So if your designer is doing that, that'll be your designer's name, and your salesperson will show up on another page here. We have a confidentiality section here, and it will update with the current year for the copyright, and your company name will be here in all the places where it shows up. At the very bottom of the first two pages, the cover pages, it will have your name, address, phone number, website, all that stuff will be here. On the second page, which is the summary page, our quote number is up here, and again, it's the project number dash the quote number. And then we have our project summary. This is the project name, and then anything you put in that project summary HTML box will show up here. If you don't put anything, it's going to be just the project name. And then we have our bill to, our install to, and then we have project investment, which is the total of the entire quote and any tax. And then we've got our grand total. And then we have our payment schedule. So this is going to take our total, and it's going to divide it out by the payment schedule percentages that are there. So we have a 50% deposit due at signing, and it takes the 50% of that. And then 50% balance due for delivery, and it's 50% of the order, including tax. Okay, so, and if there's, sometimes it's hard to get to that, it's actually not going to, it wouldn't get to the 30 or this number if, with the percentage that you use. So what eMatch does is it takes a remainder, whatever's left over at the very end, if there's a penny difference, it will take that penny and add it on to the last payment of the payment schedule. So it will always be accurate there. And on our price summary, we have it by phase. So you're going to see your option, and you're going to see your different phases here. Now, your phases, you notice it says delivery and furniture. Remember that you can order your phases by putting in the 0, 1, and parentheses, space, and order your phases that way, and it will show up in that order. But we can see the number of items that are in each phase, the price for each phase, the tax for each phase, and then our total for each phase there, and then everything summed up at the bottom. If this goes over, if you have a large project and this goes through to the next page, it will be just this here, this continuation of this on, and then it will skip a page, or it'll do a page break so it gets to the quote next. So on the body of our quote, we have our, again, our project number, quote number, the quote date, and our expires over here, our bill to, ship to, install to, and if you did deliver to, the ship to would be replaced by deliver to. Our project number, our salesperson, quote name, payment terms, okay? And then we have our items. And you can see here, this is our delivery and installation. If I had sorted those a different way, that would come in that way. Manufacturer does not apply to anybody but manufacturers, so you would not see manufacturer here. There's a price each and extended price. And then you can see the phase description that I put in and the phase picture. Okay, and anything you want to put in there, it makes a big difference in this presentation to have real nice looking descriptions and pictures, and then showing the line items that make that up. So then our line item here, you can notice if you've used our quotes before, our line numbers used to reset at every phase. So at every tagging that you did in the drawing, our line numbers would reset. Now they follow all the way through to the very end until it hits an optional item. So if you have optional items on your quote, that will reset the numbering system. Until then, it will go through the entire option or options that you've attached to this quote all straight through. So you can see here we have our quantity, unit, part number description, our manufacturers on every line, our price each, and our extended price. And then we have all of our options that we chose when we did this. So this would be important for them to look over. Then we have a total down here at the bottom. Because this is a one-page quote, our authorized signature and accepted date are on the last page of every quote. So this happens to be the last page since it's a one-page quote. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and set some different options here, and we're going to see what this looks like. So in this one, I'm going to set a direct bill vendor, and what that does is it basically negates the payment schedule here. Because we're not going to be billing the customer, the manufacturer's name and address is going to take the place where the payment schedule was. So you will, and it shows up in red, so the customer knows that they need to cut the purchase order to the manufacturer and not directly to you. In here, we're also going to set a deposit invoice type, and we're going to set that to, we'll set that to product type. Okay, you can set to any one of these, and all of them are very similar, but they're all broken out by different things. So whatever, every line item has to have a product type and a parts category. It's done through the system, and it will break it out and categorize it for you. Since we've chosen deposit invoice type, it's now going to put a deposit invoice on the end of our quote. Okay, and so we're going to go ahead and save and print here. Actually, I'm going to change my summary type here to option and category, so you can see the difference here. So I'm going to save and print. Again, I've done my cover pages, but you see now the payment schedule has been replaced by manufacturer direct billing, customer cut POs to the following, and it has the vendor and their address here. And then we have our breakdown, and it's by category, so labor and materials, a little bit of a different breakdown here. And then we go into our line item quote, exactly the same. This is not going to change. We didn't change any of those options. And then we have our deposit invoice on the end, and you can see it is broken out by product type. Okay, so I have furniture and labor. And then I have my totals down here, 50% deposit due because that's in the payment schedule, and there's my special text. And there's an authorized signature and accepted date, which shows up on the end of the last page. Okay, so now what I want to explain to you is that if you did your quote and sent it out to your customer and you did not do a deposit invoice, you can come back here at any time and you can set your deposit invoice type and your special text if you have any, and you can print that deposit invoice independently of the quote. So if somebody calls you up and they say, I need an invoice for this deposit, you just come back here, set this. Your deposit percent, remember, is determined by your terms of sale, so you can't change that. And then any special text and hit print. That will do a deposit invoice aside from or without the quote itself, so you can send this off to your customer. Okay, also, when you do a deposit invoice, we're assuming that you are expecting to actually get this order when you actually do the deposit invoice for the customer. So we put a new today item in over here on the right-hand side of your screen, the today. And the first thing under post-sale grids is open deposit invoices. Okay, so that is going to be a listing of all of your quotes that you did deposit invoices for that you have not received the deposit, or that and that have not been invoiced in any way to the customer. Okay, so one of those two things, either invoicing the customer for something on that order that has the quote attached to it, or receiving a deposit on the order where the quote is attached to it, will drop it out of this list. But it's a way for you to keep track of what your real cash flow is going to be in the very near future. Okay, so we click there. I have 2 projects in here, or 2 quotes in here. Okay, and so it's got all of my information about that quote. And again, from here, because it's attached to a project, I can right click and I can go in and do anything that I can do in that project, including going to customer invoicing and applying that deposit, which would then drop it out of the list. All right, so that's our new quoting. And if you have any questions, you can call eManage Support Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific time at 949-383-5377. And we're real excited about this. We hope you enjoy it. If you find any problems, let us know, and we will fix it right away. Thank you so much.